Okay, so today we'll start with 2 blocks on the mat. Also, we're going to try to use our hands as little as possible today. So we'll see how that goes. Get a little bit creative. So to start, we'll start in a back bend with your 2 blocks. So you'll take 1 block on the medium height behind you, leave some space between the body and that first block. You'll probably have to adjust later. The other block will go on the tallest height behind that one. So you can see my spacing. You turn around away from the blocks, bring the forearms down to the mat until the block hits the back, and you want to get the block kind of low down by the bottom tips of the shoulder blades so that you feel the center of the chest lift and spread. And then as you bring the head back, grab that other block, bring that block underneath the head for support, and then arms come down by the sides. And now you're in a supported back bend with the blocks, which is a deep back bend to be in. So keep the soles of the feet on the mat to start. Close the eyes and let's start to focus on our breath. So take a deep breath in through the nose, back out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, filling all the way up. Slow as you can, exhale out through the mouth. Last one like that. Deep breath in. Exhale out through the mouth. This time, deep breath in through the nose. Same breath, but out through the nose. Keep the lips sealed. Keep going like this, your Ujjayi breath. And you can feel how you can drop into those exhales after a few exhales out of the mouth. You start to make that same ocean wave like sound coming from the back of the throat, just breathing in and out through the nose. If you'd like to add a hip opening, you can bring the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. So Supta Baddha Konasana, but you're still lifted on the blocks. And if you feel like the feet are too close into the body and it's too intense, just wiggle the feet away from you to make it more gentle. So you feel a nice hip opening to start your practice. Being in the back bend at the same time. Sometimes this can be a lot of sensation for one body. So if that's you, just skip the lower half, bring the soles of the feet back to the mat, knees pointing up. But this is a great way to get the body open quickly with little effort and not using the hands. Reach the arms up and overhead. They won't touch anything. They're just kind of floating out in space since the blocks are underneath the upper back and the head. And then bring the arms out wide in a T shape down by the legs. And then inhale, reach the arms all the way up toward the sky, back behind the head. Exhale, the arms out wide in that T shape down toward the legs. Inhale, arms reach up toward the sky. Reach the arms back overhead, widen the arms on the exhale, all the way down toward the legs. Inhale, reach the arms up, keep going. Opening up the shoulders, same thing without any weight, starting to lubricate those joints, getting them ready for more movement. Next time the arms reach back overhead, stay there, get as long as you can, and then bring the arms back up toward the ceiling. So you're reversing the direction of the circles. Arms come down by the legs, then inhale, widen the arms, bring the arms back overhead, arms reach up toward the ceiling, back down toward the legs, and you've reversed the direction of the circles. Keep going. Staying with your breath. One more big circle wherever you are. You'll bring the hands to the outer thighs to help the knees back together. Soles of the feet come back onto the mat. Bring the forearms back down to the mat. Lift the head up first, and then start to walk the body back up to seated, enough so you can take the blocks, set them off to the side, come on down onto your back again, and extend the legs out in front of you. So now you're lying flat on the mat, and this is a nice way to just feel the spine shifting after that back bend. Start to walk the feet in, bending the knees, getting the feet so that the heels are right underneath the knees. Reach the arms forward, lifting up the head and the chest. And then from here, we'll do some heel touches. So you can go side to side, keeping the upper body lifted, trying to touch the heels. Maybe you touch them, maybe you don't. Maybe you need to reach farther forward. So the heels are taking away some of that space. Just depends on where the feet land. But as you go side to side, try to keep that core tight, belly hugging in. Two more each side. Back to center, turn the palms to face up, stretch the legs out in front of you, Ardha Navasana. So you're hovering the heels. Look up, chest is lifted. Can you come to Navasana? Squeeze those inner thighs together. So you want the spine to be long. So there's that sacrum. It's that flat triangular bone just above the glutes. If you kind of rock a little bit forward, a little bit back, you can feel where you can balance. Keep squeezing the inner thighs, lifting the chest, spine long, gaze up. Arms are still reaching forward. We'll come back to Ardha Navasana if you want. You can stay right where you are in boat pose. You can even grab onto the backs of the thighs if you want more support. Otherwise, Ardha Navasana, back up, Navasana. Ardha Navasana, back up, Navasana. One more like that. Ardha Navasana, back up, Navasana, and then set the feet down onto the mat. Come to a cross-legged seat. Doesn't matter which shin's in front, but maybe shift side to side so you feel like the sit bones are right underneath you. And then on your inhale, lift the chest up. Maybe the gaze goes up. And on the exhale, round the spine. So it's like cat-cow, but you're seated. Inhale, reach the chest up. Gaze can go up. And exhale round. Keep going with your own breath. Two more. Next time you round the spine, stay there for an extra beat. Come back up to seated. Let's switch the crossing of the legs. So lean back, bring the other shin in front. Maybe shift side to side so you feel even on the sit bones. A really light twist. You can bring the left hand back behind you. It can either lightly rest on the mat with the fingertips. Right hand can go on that shin in front of you. It can go to the knee, but we want to take a gentle twist. Go for the length in the spine. And then just find a gentle twist with the gaze going over the left shoulder. Trying not to push yourself too far in. Just go most of the way, leave some room. And we'll start to come back to center, switching sides. Slowly start to twist the other way. You're not going all the way in. Be light on the hands wherever you are. Rising up through the crown of the head as you press down into the sit bones. Belly hugs in for support to that lower back. Come back to center. So bring the feet over to one side. My feet naturally want to go over toward the left, and then come to the knees without using the hands. 1 foot at a time without using the hands. If you can, come up to standing. So that's an important functional movement to be able to go from on the ground to come up to standing without using your hands. That's a good thing to practice every once in a while. From here, reach the arms all the way up on the inhale. On the exhale, forward fold. You could certainly have a bend in the knees as you come down over the legs. And then why don't we all take a deep bend in the knees, so much that you can rest the chest on the thighs. You can clasp opposite elbows in front of you. Let the head and the neck go. But make sure the heels aren't getting really heavy. Maybe you shift the weight a little bit more forward into the balls of the feet. So with the chest resting on the thighs, that's another great way to support the lower back and always a good option for your forward folds if you ever need it. So go toward a straighter leg without losing the connection of the chest on the thighs. You'll hardly be able to straighten the legs any more than they already are. You're probably going to need a bend. Switch the clasp of the elbows, other forearm in front. Ujjayi breath. Now come to straight legs, slide the hands up the sides of the legs, reach the heart forward, hug the belly in, shoulders away from the ears. Stay here for a couple of breaths. So as you hug the belly in, the heart is reaching forward. You're still staying a little heavier on the balls of the feet, lighter in the heels. And then slowly exhale, bring yourself all the way back down into your forward fold. 2 more like that. Inhale up. Fire up the soles of the feet, the legs, chest is reaching forward, core is hugging in, shoulders away from the ears, back of the neck is long. Exhale, bring it all the way down to your forward fold. Last one like that. Inhale up, spending a little extra time in these Ardha Uttanasanas so we get them right and also find some strength in the back. Exhale, fold, let it all go. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Half Surya A. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way back up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way back up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Last cycle. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Coming into chair pose, Utkatasana. So bend the knees, reach the arms up. For chair pose today, it'd be a good idea to keep your feet hip width distance apart for these transitions. Traditionally, we practice with the big toes together, slight gap in the heels. Although my personal practice, I always keep my feet hip width distance apart to protect my lower back. So as you hug the belly in, lift the chest. Start to shift the weight over to the right foot, step that left foot back to a lunge. And then you're keeping the chest low. Slowly bring that left knee down to the mat, gently reaching the arms up. As you lift the arms up, take an inhale. On the exhale, cactus the arms, lift and spread the chest. Inhale, reach the arms all the way back up. 2 more of those. Exhale, cactus the arms, elbows down and back, chest lifts, gaze can lift. Inhale, reach all the way back up. Exhale, cactus the arms. This time, inhale, reach the arms up, looking forward. You're coming up to crescent pose. Dig into that right heel, start to lift that left knee up. Keep straightening the front leg as you reach up with both hands. Turn the toes to the left. Hands come to the hips. Fold forward halfway. And then all the way down. So hands can come down to the mat between the feet. Walk the hands over toward the left leg. So that back leg. Grab onto whatever's there. Maybe you don't touch anything. Maybe you can easily grab onto the calf, the ankle, the foot. Let the head and the neck go. Get the weight even in the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. You'll feel a deeper opening in the backside of the legs. Come back to center, hands underneath the shoulders, come up onto the fingertips, lift yourself up halfway, put a bend in the knees, hands to the hips, come all the way up to standing. So heels in, toes out, reach the arms all the way up, keep the legs straight for now. So you have the legs going down and the chest, the upper body is lifting up at the same time. Keep that lift of the upper body as you start to bend the knees, coming into a wide-legged squat, but we're still just starting out, so don't feel like you have to go that low. Arms are reaching up, chest is lifted, belly lifts, and the lower back gets long when you do that. So it's like the tail's pointing down. And then straighten the legs, bring the hands to the hips, point the toes forward, heel toe the feet closer together, and then step toward the top of the mat. Feet hip width distance apart, bend the knees, sit back, chair pose, Utkatasana. This time, shift the weight over to the left foot, step that right leg back. So left leg stays in chair, you're coming to a lunge. And then slowly start to set that right knee down to the mat, keeping the chest lifted. Reaching up with the arms and the chest, but keeping the shoulders in place. Take an inhale where you are. On the exhale, cactus the arms, elbows down and back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus the arms. This time, inhale, reach up. Keep the gaze forward. Press into that left foot and start to engage those outer hips in toward the midline. Start to rise back up to crescent pose. Keep going so that front leg gets straight and you're reaching up with the whole body. Turn the toes to the right, hands come to the hips, fold forward halfway. And then hands come down to the mat. Once you're folding forward halfway, maybe shift forward and back a little bit until you get the weight even in between the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. Then you can walk the hands over toward the right leg, letting the head and the neck go, getting into all those big muscles we use in the legs. Come back to center, fingertips underneath the shoulders, lifting yourself up halfway. Put a bend in the knees, hands to the hips, press yourself up to standing. This time, heels in, toes out, reach the arms up, star pose. So legs are straight, arms reach up, spine is long. Keep this upper body reaching up, spine long. Start to bend the knees, coming into your wide-legged squat, goddess pose. Belly lifts, tail points down. Ujjayi breath. Come all the way back up to standing. Hands come to the hips. Point the toes forward. Heel toe the feet closer together. And then step to the top of the mat. So you're back at the top of the mat. Feet are hip width distance apart. This time, bring the hands to the lower back, probably fingertips pointing down. So with the fingertips pointing down, lower back supported with the hands, hug the outer elbows in, start to find some length in the legs. So as you press the soles of the feet into the mat, lift the muscles in the legs, lift the lower belly. Maybe you start to lift the chest, keeping the hips right over the heels, hugging those outer elbows in. Chest could start to go back. Still a lighter back bend, not your deepest standing camel pose. And then slowly bring yourself back up to standing. Reach the arms all the way up. So Urdhva Hastasana. You're still rooting down through the legs and the feet, reaching up with the upper body. Bend the knees, sit back, come into chair pose. Shift the weight over to the right foot, step the left foot back behind you, coming into a lunge. Crescent pose, so chest can lift. This time, straighten the front leg, rise up, turn the toes to the left, arms out wide, so palms face down, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. You're coming into triangle pose, so if you feel like you want to shorten the stance, heel toe the back foot in a little bit. Left arm reaches forward, bring that left arm down, right arm up. Trikonasana, triangle pose. We're trying to get the hands 12 and 6 o'clock. It's great if you can see yourself, but if you can't, then you just need to use your proprioception to get there as best you can. Turn that top palm to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. So let's get into that right side chest and shoulder. Keeping those legs squeezing together, core hugging in. Maybe that left palm floats forward, palm facing up. Keep the legs straight, just come up to standing. You could keep the half bind if you want to. Left arm reaches up and back, still staying in that right side shoulder and chest if you have the half bind. Then come back up to standing, arms out wide. Look down at the left foot, put a little bend in that left knee, hands to the hips, step the right foot forward toward the back of the mat. I'm not sure how to say that. Okay, so from here, start to reach the arms all the way up. Feet are still hip width distance apart. Shift the weight over to the right foot, lift the left knee up. See if you can grab onto the left knee, interlacing the fingers or just lightly hanging onto the knee. Right hand comes to the right hip. Move that left knee out to the left. Right arm can come out to the right. That's a nice way to counterbalance, but you're just hanging onto that left knee for now, rising up through the chest, lowering down through the legs, trying to keep that left sit bone in line with the right sit bone. Come back to center, knee goes forward, reach the arms up, step back to a lunge. So that left foot goes way back behind you, arms reach up. Crescent pose. Spin the left heel down flat, warrior two. Right foot comes in a little bit, lengthen that right thigh forward. Flip the front palm up, reverse warrior. Straighten the front leg, keep reaching up and back, reverse triangle. Should feel good to get out of that right thigh. Then bring the hands to the hips, turn the right toes to face the side of the mat, so you're facing the other side of the mat. Hands on the hips, fold forward halfway, bring the hands down in front of the shoulders. Here, it might be nice, just grab the outer legs. So you're just doing a wide-legged forward fold. You can grab the outer legs. You could grab the ankles. If your hands are okay with it, you could grab the big toes with the first two fingers and the thumb. If that's going well, then you can flare out the elbows, come up halfway, and then fold back down again. Focus on the weight, how it's falling into the feet, shift it so it's even. Legs are still working, so you're lifting up the muscles in the legs as you hug the outer hips in. Head and neck release. You can see, so we're still getting that inversion the way you would in a downward facing dog with the head below the heart. All right, come back up halfway. You can bring the fingertips underneath the shoulders, hands come to the hips, press yourself all the way back up to standing. Angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. Find warrior two facing the top of the mat again. This time we're coming into crescent pose. So make sure you have a wider stance in your warrior two. Reach that right arm forward, coming onto the ball, the back foot, arms reach up. And then come to chair pose. Right foot steps forward, you're in chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. So if you're not already, be at the top of the mat, feet hip width distance apart, hands to the lower back. Lift and spread the chest. Root down through the legs, hug those outer elbows in, coming back into your standing camel. That's your back bend. Neck is long, so you can always look forward if that gives you more length. And then slowly come back up to standing. On an inhale, reach the arms all the way up, bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Keep the gaze looking forward, shift the weight over to the left foot, step that right leg back to your crescent pose. So a lunge, and then you can start to reach the chest up and the arms up. Straighten the front leg, keep reaching up, turn the toes to the right, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out, arms out wide. Setting up for triangle could be a shorter stance. It's all about how you feel stable in the pose. Hip shift back, right arm reaches forward. Bring that right arm down and the left arm up. So try to find the hands at 12 and 6 o'clock. Open up the chest wide. Outer right hip hugs in, left inner thigh spins back. Turn that left palm to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back, starting to get into that left side chest and shoulder. Maybe feeling a little bit more strength coming into the legs, the core. Float that right arm forward, palm facing up. Keep that front leg straight. Just reach up and back, coming into reverse triangle with or without the half bind. If it feels good, keep it. If it doesn't, skip it. Hands come to the hips. Look down at that right foot. Put a little bend in that right knee. Step the left foot up toward the back of the mat. So feet hip width distance apart. Reach the arms all the way up. Start to shift the weight over to the left foot. Bring the right knee up to hip height. Hang on to that knee. Then right hand stays with the right knee. Open the knee to the right. Left arm can come out to the left. Outer left hip hugs in. Right sit bone in line with the left sit bone. Getting some length on that inner right thigh. Standing as tall as you can. Knee comes back to center. Reach the arms all the way up. Step back to crescent pose. Ball the right foot goes back. Chest lifts. Rise up to standing so that left leg goes straight. You're reaching up with the chest, the arms. Turn the toes to the right so you're facing the side of the mat again. Hands to the hips. Fold forward halfway. Hands come down in front of the shoulders. This time you could turn the hands around so the fingertips point behind you. And then you can walk the hands back behind the feet, maybe. And that gives you a nice shoulder opening. Head can come down toward the mat, neck releases, but try to keep the shoulders away from the ears so you don't take away space from the neck. And this is your substitute for downward facing dog. So you're trying to find that same centering feeling. Walk the hands forward so they come back underneath the shoulders, coming up onto the fingertips. Put a bend in the knees, hands to the hips. Press yourself up to standing. Angle in the left toes. Turn the right toes all the way out. Warrior two, facing the top of the mat. And here's where we come to that bigger transition. So maybe you move the right foot out to the right a tiny bit, just so it feels like the feet are heel to heel instead of heel to arch. Reach that left arm forward all the way up, coming onto the ball of the back foot, crescent pose facing the top of the mat. Step that left foot forward, chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Good work. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. On the exhale, forward fold all the way down over the legs. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Hands to the lower back, stand tall. Fire up the legs, lifting the inner thighs up. Lift the belly up. Start to lift the chest up. As you keep those outer elbows in, maybe the gaze in the chest starts to go up, or you can keep the gaze forward, but legs are strong, trying to keep the hips over the heels, not going back with you. Then slowly come back up to standing. Reach the arms all the way up. Come back to chair pose, bending the knees. Little different this time. Look down at the feet. Shift the weight over to the right foot. Left ankle, right thigh. Standing pigeon. You could bring the hands together down in front of the heart. I like this arm variation because you can focus on the hip opening, squaring the hips forward. And that's really what we're trying to do, is open up that left hip a little more. Lift the chest up maybe halfway. Step that left foot back behind you, coming into your runner's lunge. When you're ready, arms reach forward all the way up. Straighten the front leg, which should feel really good. Turn the toes to the left. Angle in the right toes. Turn the left toes all the way out. Arms out wide, back to your triangle pose, Trikonasana. Left arm reaches forward, then down, right arm reaches up. Turn that right palm to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. As you fire up the legs and the core, float that left arm forward, palm facing up, almost like you're have a platter in the hand that you're offering to someone. Come all the way up and back. Keep that left leg straight if you can. Maybe the half bind stays too. Reverse triangle. Opening up the left side body. Come back to standing. Hands come to the hips. Look down at that left foot. Put a bend in the left knee. Step the right foot toward the back of the mat. So once you're standing at the back of the mat, reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, legs down, arms up, chest up. Shift the weight over to the left foot, shift the weight over to the right foot. Left knee comes up to hip height. Left hand, left knee, right arm out to the side. If you feel open enough, you could just reach down, grab for the big toe of the left foot, extend the left leg forward and play with opening it up that way, coming into Padangusthasana, or stay with the knee. It's up to you, but chest lifts, outer right hip hugs in, sit bones are level. Bring that left foot forward or left knee forward, reach the arms all the way up. Back to crescent pose. Reach back with the ball of the left foot, landing your crescent pose, chest lifts up, straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the left, hands to the hips, fold forward halfway, hands come down in front of the shoulders. Maybe you grab the big toes with the peace fingers and the thumb, come up halfway, and then flare out the elbows, fold forward, let the head and the neck go. Try to keep the hips over the heels. That's where the weight gets even between the balls of the feet and the heels of the feet. Couple of breaths here. Then come back up halfway, fingertips underneath the shoulders. Put a bend in the knees, hands to the hips, press yourself up to standing. Angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. Warrior two facing the top of the mat. So 2 options with the feet for warrior two always. It's either that front heel points to the arch of the back foot. Some people like a wider stance. I'm recommending that today, especially for our transition. So if you're not already, left foot goes out to the left a tiny bit, so it feels like that left heel is lined up with the right heel. Then you can reach the arms forward, come onto the ball of the back foot, and your feet aren't so narrow like you're on a tightrope. Step that right foot forward, come all the way up to standing. Hands come together down in front of the heart. Let's do a half Surya A. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. We're coming all the way back up to standing on your inhale. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Hands to the lower back. If you feel like the wrists are open and you want to bring the fingertips up, you can, but you'll kind of know right away if it's too much. Hug those outer elbows in. Stand tall. So start from the soles of the feet, start lifting things up. And then once you start to feel that energy come up through the chest, decide where you want the gaze to go as you lean back, but not the hips, just the upper body. Slowly come back up to standing. Reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Get tall, feel really long. Then bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Look down at the feet, shift the weight over to the left foot, right ankle, left thigh. Hands can come together right in front of the heart. You're reaching that chest forward, getting into that right hip. Trying to stay with that Ujjayi breath. Square the hips forward. The hips want to go way over to the left. And then you're taking it back to crescent pose. So reach that ball, the right foot way back. Arms reach up. Straighten the front legs. So you're reaching up with the legs and the arms. Turn the toes over to the right. Angle in the left toes. Turn the right toes all the way out. Arms out wide. Triangle facing the back of the mat, hip shift back, right arm reaches forward, bring the right arm down, left arm up. Left palm turns to face behind you, wrap the left arm behind the back. You're finding a place where you get the maximum opening in that left side shoulder and chest. Don't be too concerned about where the hand ends up, as long as it's giving you space there. Squeeze the legs together, float that right arm forward, palm facing up. Legs stay straight, reach up and back, reverse triangle. Hands to the hips. Look down at the right foot. So you're facing the back of the mat. Put a little bend in that the right knee. Step the left foot to meet the right foot. Feet hip width distance apart. Reach the arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. So root down through the legs. Feel totally connected in the lower half of the body. Lower half is reaching down. Upper half is reaching up. Start to shift the weight over to the left foot. Bring the right knee up to hip height. Maybe right hand, right knee, or grab the big toe, extend that right leg forward, left arm out to the side wherever you are, right leg out to the side. Sit bones are even, chest lifts, trying to stand as tall as you can. Top of the left thigh presses back. Keep that focal point or drishti. Right leg comes back to center. Reach the arms all the way up, crescent pose. Bend the right knee if it's not already. Step back with the ball of the right foot, reaching up. Then straighten the front leg. Turn the toes to the right, hands to the hips. Fold forward halfway. Hands come down in front of the shoulders. You could grab the outer edges of the legs, ankles, or grab onto the big toes with the first two fingers and the thumb. Come up halfway. Then flare up the elbows as you fold forward. Shift the weight so that the heels and the hips are in line. That's how you'll get that nice opening. Let the head go, the neck go. Come back to your breath. Then come up halfway, bring the hands in front of the shoulders, just underneath, put a little bend in the knees, hands come up to the hips. We press ourselves back up to standing. Angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out, arms out wide, warrior two, facing the top of the mat. Little wider of a stance if you're not already heel to heel. Reach that left arm forward all the way up as you come onto the ball, the back foot, crescent. Then step that left foot up to meet the right foot, come up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, circle the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Come all the way back up to standing. Hands come together. down in front of the heart. Standing camel, hands back by the lower back, lift up through the legs, lift up through the abdomen, lift up through the chest. Maybe you start to lean back with the chest, keeping the hips over the heels. Slowly come back up to standing, bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Look down at the feet, left ankle, right thigh, standing pigeon, hands come together, right down in front of the heart. Left foot steps back behind you, crescent pose. Land the ball, that left foot back, reach the arms up. Straighten the front leg. Turn the toes to the left. Angle in the right toes. Turn the left toes all the way out, arms out wide, triangle pose facing the back of the mat. Hip shift back, left arm down, right arm up. Turn that right palm to face behind you. Wrap the right arm behind the back. Start to reach that left arm forward, palm facing up. Keep the legs straight as you rise all the way up, reaching up and back, reverse triangle with or without the half bind. Then come back to center, hands to the hips, little bend in that left knee so you can step that right foot next to the left foot. Reach the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Shift the weight over to the right foot, lift that left knee up to hip height. Padangusthasana, any version. So left hand, left knee, or reach down, grab for that left big toe, extend the leg forward, right arm out to the side. Last time here on this side. Leg out to the left, chest lifts, then slowly bring the leg back forward, reach that right arm up, both arms up, crescent pose. Take your time getting there. Land the ball, the back foot up or back behind you, lift the chest, straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the left, hands to the hips, fold forward halfway, hands down in front of the shoulders. Now, wide-legged forward fold. So maybe you grab the outer ankles, or maybe you stick with the big toes, lifting up halfway, flaring out the elbows, let the head and the neck go. Hands come right underneath the shoulders, coming up onto the fingertips, bend the knees, bring the hands to the hips, rise up to standing, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out, warrior two facing the back or the top of the mat. Little wider stance, reach that right arm forward all the way up as you come onto the ball, the back foot, crescent pose. Step that right foot forward, come up to standing at the top of the mat. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Arms come all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Hands to the lower back, stand tall, lift the muscles in the legs, lift the core muscles. Maybe you start to come back into your standing Ustrasana, camel pose, and then slowly start to come back to standing upright. Reach the arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose, look down at the feet, right ankle, left thigh. Once you get there, hands come together, down in front of the heart, open up that right hip. Step the right foot back behind you, coming into your runner's lunge. Reach the arms forward all the way up, crescent pose. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the right. Angle on the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out, arms out wide, triangle pose. Left palm turns to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back. Float that right arm forward, palm facing up. Take it to reverse triangle with or without the half bind. Hands come to the hips. Look at the right toes. Bend the right knee, step that left foot next to the right foot. Arms reach up, back to Urdhva Hastasana. This time weight goes into the left foot. Lift the right knee up. Grab onto the knee or the big toe. Open it up, Padangusthasana. Right leg to the right, left arm to the left. Chest is tall. Back to center, right leg forward. Reach the arms up, step that right foot way back, crescent pose. Straighten both legs, lifting the chest, turn the toes to the right, hands to the hips, fold forward, hands come down in front of the shoulders. Wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. Maybe grabbing the big toes, let the head and the neck go, flaring out the elbows. Take a couple of breaths here. Hands underneath the shoulders, come up onto the fingertips, bend the knees, hands to the hips, press yourself all the way up to standing, angle on the left toes, turn the right toes out, warrior two facing the top of the mat. Left arm reaches forward, come onto the ball of the back foot, crescent pose facing the top of the mat. Left foot steps up to meet the right foot, come all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Done with that. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. Hands come together, right down in front of the heart, twist to the right. So you can keep the chest where it is. You can lower the elbow to tap the thigh. You can hook the elbow outside the thigh. Believe it or not, your shoulders are a little bit more open today. So you could bring the left arm down and the right arm up if you're looking for a deeper twist. Just lengthen throughout the spine, up through the crown of the head as you twist. Then hands come back together, back to center, forward fold. Let's widen the feet so they're more toward the outer edges of the mat. You can clasp opposite elbows. Some of you like to sway side to side gently. That's cool as long as it doesn't bother your lower back. Remember which forearm is in front so you can switch on the other side. Hands come back down to the mat, heel toe the feet, back to however you like your chair pose, either hip width distance with the feet or big toes together, slight gap in the heels. Come up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, back to chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. Hands come together, right down in front of the heart, twist to the left, and then maybe take it lower, keeping the knees even. Maybe you hook the elbow, maybe right hand down, left arm up. Come back to center, reach the arms forward and up, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Clasp opposite elbows the other way, so other forearm in front. Get the heels light, balls of the feet heavy, maybe you sway side to side. Hands come back down to the mat, heel toe the feet back to hip width distance. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Last chair pose, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Keep the chest lifted, but lower the hips. Lift the chest, lower the hips more. Lift the chest, lower the hips more. Maybe you hover in a squat before you set the hips down as gently as you can onto the mat. And then reaching the arms forward, find a rounding of the spine, hugging into the belly, slowly coming all the way down to the mat. Arms down by the sides. Bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. You could reach the arms overhead and clasp opposite elbows so you can experience that nice open chest, shoulders, upper body, while you get the hip opening at the same time. Eyes can be closed, still staying with the Ujjayi breath if you can. Then reach the arms overhead, switch the clasp of the elbows, other forearm on top. reach the arms overhead, getting long in the side body. Circle the arms down toward the legs. So you're bringing the fingertips to the outer thighs to help the knees back together. Bring that right knee in toward the chest, hanging onto it. Left leg can go out in front of you. Extend that right leg up. You can either grab onto the back of the thigh or walk the hands up the leg. See what's available. Head stays down on the mat. Hug the right knee in toward the chest. Set the right foot down onto the mat. Hug the left knee in toward the chest. Right leg can go out in front of you. Extend the left leg up, either grabbing onto the back of the left thigh or walking the hands up the left leg. Always the one that gives you more space in the whole body. So you don't want to compromise the upper body to get more space in the lower body. Hug that left knee in toward the chest. Bring the right knee in. Hook the feet. Doesn't matter which one, but one foot on top of the other. Open up the knees wide. You can rock side to side. Just massaging the back of the hips after all that work. And hook the feet the other way, bringing the other foot on top. Same thing. Rock side to side if it feels okay. You're trying to open up those knees as wide as you can. It won't be that wide with the feet hooked. Set the feet back down onto the mat. Scoot the hips over to the right. Bring the knees to the left. Gaze can go over that right shoulder. Right arm reaches back behind you. A reclined spinal twist. Come back through to center. Use the feet to get there. Scoot the hips over to the left. Knees come over to the right. Reach that left arm back behind you. Going into your spinal twist the opposite direction. Find center on your back. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Give yourself a squeeze, eyes closed. Take a deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale, Shavasana. Extend the legs out in front of you, arms down by the sides. Eyes are closed. Letting go of the breath control, coming into stillness. You'll start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Reach the arms overhead, getting long on your mat. Start to walk the feet in, bending the knees, rolling over onto your right side, cradling the head and the arm if that's comfortable. Using the left hand, press yourself up to your meditation seat, maybe a cross-legged seat, however you're comfortable. Could be up on a prop too. With the chest lifted, eyes closed, observing how you feel, coming back into your space, back into a more centered state of mind, calm, even keeled. Bring the hands together, slight bow of the head. Take a moment to yourself, honor and acknowledge your heart and your spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining. So today was definitely a different class. We didn't do a single downward facing dog. We avoided putting serious weight on the hands, which was a request from the group today, someone struggling with something, but you can always modify and customize your yoga practice to make it work for you. So that was just one idea. All right, have a great day. See you guys next week.